Think about the word teenager and what it means. Wait, I changed my mind. Think about the word adolescent. While these two terms mean the exact same thing, today's word teenager has gained a reputation for being immature, lazy, selfish, aggressive, and rebellious. Now let me be honest. These might be a little accurate, but there are a lot of points to consider before associating the word teenager with the previous expressions. The way adolescents talk, move, and express themselves is often misunderstood. And this can interfere in their life as they're trying to grow as a person. Interfere in their family, social, and school life. School is a place where knowledge is physically and mentally at its most powerful stage. And this point is often misunderstood and forgotten. The American Psychological Association states that students are more likely to engage in healthy behaviors and succeed academically when they feel school connectedness. Meaning, they're less likely to engage in risky behaviors that could include alcohol, nicotine, and drug use. School connectedness. What does it mean? Yes, it is a real word, and it's the belief held by students that adults and peers in their school care about their learning as well as them as individuals. Having a voice, speaking out, standing out, and being who you are. This is what Green School is about, and these are the values they want to instill in the students. So with these thoughts, my question started increasing. Do the students really feel comfortable, connected, and understood? If not, then why? What happens if you feel some sort of discomfort? How does the school support the students, or do they even have facilities for this type of support? Well, it turns out they do, but I had to learn that my way. With my own stories and my own experiences, this was enough to drive me to create a change within the specific concern in the school. For my quest, I constructed a questionnaire/assessment about the SEL, counselor, and school support facilities. Reevaluating these concepts using the student voice that I talked about earlier with the values of school connectedness. Now, this is something I'm extremely passionate about. I wanted all the students to take part of this forum because after all, the more participation, the better the result. I wanted to welcome all the different thoughts, opinions, questions, stories, and experiences of the students. An open space for them without making them feel like they were being targeted. My goal for this quest was to bring action to mental health education in middle school. And when working towards this goal, there were a lot of significant steps along the way. I started to work with Ibu Jennifer, the previous middle school and high school counselor. With her, we worked through a very specific selection process of the different subjects we wanted to expose middle school students to. We went from 24 different subjects to 6 simplified, narrowed down subjects. We had to pay attention to the relevance, the age restrictions, and the overall context that the specific subject included. And after the final selection, we ended up with the following subjects: nicotine, alcohol, and drug use. These were the substance-based ones. Then we have mental health, self-harm and suicide, and school support. In the early stages, I needed to start doing a lot of research, not only to inform myself on these specific topics, but also to start building the form. And when doing that, I worked with a program called JotForm. JotForm is a specific program made to collect data from a large group of audience, and therefore working for my usage better than any other platform out there. Throughout my quest, I kept getting asked, why don't you just use an already made survey? And yes, I thought about it. It would be more reliable and easy, and there were some really great ones. But listen to this. We are middle schoolers that go to Green School that live in Bali, Indonesia. Maybe a survey that is made for an American school wouldn't give me the best outcome. So I made it myself. And yes, that did take up half my quest, but in the end, I ended up with something that looked like this. my own questionnaire/assessment that I made to fit a student just like me. A platform where all the students are able to have a voice to make them feel comfortable, connected, and understood. A final answer to all my questions. This sounds all good, but a little bit too good to be true, especially for a Quest project that I would create. In the beginning, I got hit with a child protection policy, which is a policy to build and maintain a protective environment by preventing child abuse in all its different forms before it occurs. This is where my Quest focus took a turn. For the better, but it was still a challenge to work around it. I had to make sure that I was physically unable to come across any worrying or troubling personal information that I myself couldn't deal with. I also had to make sure that I wasn't able to see anyone that filled out the form, making it 100% anonymous, which is also the reason why I will not be showing the results here today. After that, there was just a lot of emailing between me, Pakdan, and Ibu Jennifer. A lot of computer work, and when the time finally came, I went around to each middle school classroom, giving them an introduction to my Quest, followed by them filling out the survey. The feeling of standing in front of the class and seeing all the students filling it out was such a relieving and was such a rewarding feeling. And seeing how engaged they were made me feel like I did something that was not only wanted, but also needed. I want to thank each and every middle school student who took part, because you all made a difference in one way or another. And once I received all the student data, I set a meeting with Pakdan, with graphs that looked like this. I'm not a professional, but I do know how to read a graph. And from there, create an educated guess on the specific group of people that I surveyed. I separated some of the data by sections and some by grades to be able to have a better and more clear understanding. I needed to be really straightforward because I don't have all the answers and I don't know exactly how to react to these specific statistics. But I do know that I did more on mental health education in middle school than anyone before. I bridged the students and the educators together. Now, whether they will consider my work and act upon it is for now out of my control, but I gave them all the reasons to. And that, to me, is what matters the most. I want to thank each and every Quest teacher that have helped me along this journey. Most specifically, Pakdan, Ibu Dian, Ibu Jennifer, even if she's not here, and Ibu Laura and Ibu Angie, the superheroes of Quest 2022. My parents, even if I decided not to involve them as much, and every one of my friends who have helped me along this journey. From the very beginning of Quest, even before I had any idea of what I wanted to do, I knew that I wanted to leave middle school and Green School with a part of me that stayed. And I hope that in the future, students are not afraid to stand up to create a difference and use their voice. Because one day you'll look back and thank yourself for doing something that was not only wanted, but also needed. So I thank you all and myself. Thank you.